David Lynch finally breaks silence on Stanley Kubrick. David Lynch was born David Keith Lynch on January 20th, 1946 in Missoula, Montana. He is widely celebrated as one of the most creative and important filmmakers of modern times. His journey into the world of art and movies began when he was young, shaped by a mix of small-town American life and vivid, often dreamlike visions that would later show up in his unique storytelling style. Lynch's childhood was marked by moving around a lot due to his father's job, which gave him both a sense of moving from place to place and a deep curiosity about the hidden parts of human behavior. From a young age, he showed a fascination with visual art, creating detailed paintings and drawings that showed not only technical skill, but also a natural understanding of the strange and eerie. These early experiences laid the foundation for his later work, where his mastery of mood, atmosphere, and symbolism would become his trademark. After high school, Lynch went to formal art school at the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts, where he first focused on painting. However, his artistic vision soon grew beyond still images. He began trying out short films, combining his visual style with storytelling experiments. Works such as Six Men Getting Sick, 1966, and The Alphabet, 1968, showed an early focus on surreal imagery, disturbing dreamscapes and darkly funny elements, hinting at the themes that would dominate his later career. These early films, though unusual, were notable for their careful attention to detail, creative use of sound design, and an eerie look that would become known as the Lynchian style, a term that has since become part of film criticism to describe a world where the ordinary is often mixed with dread, absurdity, or unexplainable beauty. Lynch's first feature-length film, Eraserhead, 1977, is widely regarded as a landmark in independent cinema shot over several years with painstaking care and a limited budget. The film is a surreal portrait of loneliness, fatherhood, and cold urban despair. Its nightmarish black and white imagery, unsettling sound design, and grotesque yet poetic visual symbolism challenged normal storytelling and attracted a cult following that still loves the film as a masterpiece. Eraserhead not only cemented Lynch's reputation as a bold, unorthodox filmmaker, but also marked the beginning of his lifelong exploration of the opposites within human experience, the contrast of innocence and evil, humor and horror, the mundane and the fantastical. Following Eraserhead, Lynch created a string of influential works, including The Elephant Man, 1980, Blue Velvet, 1986, and Mulholland Drive, 2001, each of which showed his extraordinary ability to cross different genres while maintaining a distinct, unmistakable voice. In The Elephant Man, Lynch mixed stark historical realism with deep emotional empathy, earning him international acclaim and several Academy Award nominations. With Blue Velvet, he dug into the sinister underbelly of suburban America, exploring themes of watching others, trauma, and the darkness lurking behind perfect facades. Mulholland Drive, often praised as his masterpiece, combined mystery, psychological horror, and dreamlike narrative structures to create a deeply affecting meditation on identity, desire, and the fake nature of Hollywood itself. Across his films, Lynch's careful attention to cinematography, sound design, and music, frequently working with composer Angelo Badalamenti, elevates his work to a sensory, almost hypnotic experience that pulls audiences into worlds both beautiful and terrifying. Beyond his feature films, Lynch has left an unforgettable mark on television, most notably with the groundbreaking series Twin Peaks, 1990 to 1991, Revival 2017, combining elements of soap opera, mystery, and supernatural horror. The series broke new ground in the way narrative television could be both artistically ambitious and commercially successful. Its mysterious characters, eerie atmosphere, and unforgettable imagery have influenced generations of filmmakers and TV creators, cementing Lynch's status as a visionary storyteller capable of reshaping entire genres. Beyond film, David Lynch has built a multifaceted artistic legacy that spans painting, photography, music, literature, and even meditation. His abstract paintings and experimental art exhibitions reveal the same fascination with the surreal and the subconscious that characterizes his films. He has also explored music, forming collaborations and releasing albums that extend his signature atmospheric aesthetic into soundscapes that are at once haunting and mesmerizing. Lynch is a vocal advocate of transcendental meditation, often speaking about its influence on his creativity and personal life, emphasizing the connection between inner calm and artistic inspiration. David Lynch's personal life has been as layered and complex as the cinematic worlds he created, marked by a series of long-term relationships that reflected both his deep intensity and mysterious personality. His first marriage was to Peggy Lent in 1967, a union that emerged during the early years of Lynch's early career when he was still exploring his distinctive artistic voice in experimental filmmaking and painting. Though their marriage ultimately ended after several years, this period was significant for Lynch as it happened with his early struggles to establish himself in the creative world. From this marriage, Lynch's daughter Jennifer Lynch was born. Jennifer would later carve her own path as a filmmaker, following in her father's footsteps while developing a unique voice that echoed the surrealism and psychological depth often associated with the Lynchian aesthetic. The bond between father and daughter has been publicly described as supportive yet complex, mirroring the complicated dynamics seen in many of Lynch's films. Following his separation from Peggy Lent, Lynch entered a new chapter of his personal life when he married Mary Fisk in 1977. Their decade-long marriage spanned a transformative era in Lynch's career, including the breakthrough of Eraserhead and the critical success of The Elephant Man. While the marriage ultimately ended in divorce in 1987, it was a period during which Lynch balanced the demands of rising fame with the challenges of family life. During this time, Lynch also engaged in a highly publicized and much-discussed relationship with Isabella Rossellini, the renowned actress of Blue Velvet, a film that itself explored the intersections of beauty and darkness, innocence and corruption. This affair, which got considerable media attention, seemed to capture the public imagination, partly because it mirrored the intensity, unpredictability, and erotic tension that characterized many of Lynch's cinematic narratives. The relationship with Rossellini, while ultimately not lasting, left an unforgettable mark on both their personal lives and the artistic period of Lynch's career in the late 1980s. Years later, Lynch married Mary Sweeney in 2006, a longtime collaborator who had produced and edited several of his films. This marriage, though brief, highlighted Lynch's tendency to mix personal and professional spheres, as Sweeney had been instrumental in shaping the visual and narrative style of some of his later projects. Their union ended within the same year, reflecting perhaps the challenge of balancing personal intimacy with professional partnership. Finally, in 2009, Lynch married Emily Stoffel, an actress who appeared in some of his projects. This marriage appears to have brought a measure of stability and companionship in Lynch's later life, offering a quieter, more private dimension to the public's perception of the reclusive filmmaker. David Lynch, the visionary filmmaker whose surreal and often unsettling cinematic style has made him one of the most influential directors of the late 20th and early 21st centuries, has finally spoken publicly about the impact and influence of Stanley Kubrick on his work, a subject he has historically approached with a measured silence. In a rare and honest interview, Lynch addressed the question that has long fascinated movie lovers. How did Kubrick's careful attention to detail, perfectionism, and ability to create both beauty and horror influence his own approach to film? Lynch began by acknowledging Kubrick's almost legendary status in the world of cinema. Stanley was this towering figure, Lynch explained, someone whose films seemed to operate on a level that was simultaneously precise and deeply unsettling. Watching his work, I felt like I was entering a world where nothing was accidental, and yet everything felt alive. In these words, Lynch captures the essence of what many directors find both inspiring and intimidating about Kubrick. The sense that every shot, every line of dialogue, and every shadow is deliberately constructed to serve a larger, almost impossible to describe vision. Lynch went on to describe the particular parts of Kubrick's methods that connected with him most. His attention to the smallest details, Lynch said, was incredible. The way he would frame a scene, the way he would manipulate light and shadow, the way he used sound. He was so meticulous, and yet it never felt cold. It felt alive, organic in a way that is so rare in filmmaking. Here, Lynch identifies the duality that makes Kubrick's films lasting. A fusion of technical precision and emotional depth. A balance of calculation and mystery that keeps audiences captivated decades after a film's release. Lynch's admiration is not merely about copying. It is about understanding how Kubrick could achieve a level of control that allowed the audience to feel the weight of every moment, every visual cue. For Lynch, the inspiration lies not in copying Kubrick's style, but in embracing the idea that a filmmaker can operate on such an elevated plane of both craft and imagination. In discussing Kubrick's influence on his own work, Lynch noted that while his films often explore the subconscious, dreams, and the bizarre, he has learned from Kubrick the power of holding back. Watching his films, I learned that less can be more, Lynch commented. The silence, the pauses, the way a scene breathes on its own, those are things I try to honor in my own work. Kubrick taught me that control over your material is freeing. When you know exactly what every element is doing, you create a space where the audience's mind can wander and fill in the gaps. That is pure cinematic magic. Here, Lynch explains a key principle that both unites and separates him from Kubrick. While Kubrick often drew viewers in with formal rigor and perfection, Lynch uses control as a framework to allow unpredictability, allowing the subconscious to emerge from the structured environment he constructs. Lynch also reflected on the emotional power of Kubrick's work, emphasizing the filmmaker's ability to fuse beauty and terror. There's this duality in his films, Lynch said. On the surface, everything might look pristine, perfect, even elegant. But beneath that, there's something dark, something disturbing that keeps you off balance. I've always been fascinated by that tension, how you can make people feel something profoundly, viscerally, while still maintaining a sense of formal precision. This insight reveals the depth of Lynch's understanding of cinematic language. He recognizes that Kubrick's genius lies not only in visual perfection, but in his ability to create emotional and psychological responses through an almost invisible orchestration of cinematic elements. Concluding his remarks, Lynch offered a broader reflection on the relationship between filmmakers across generations. "We all stand on the shoulders of those who came before us," he said. Kubrick showed us that film is not just storytelling. It is a way to explore the human condition, the mysteries of perception, and the uncharted territory of imagination. I am grateful for that, and I think every filmmaker owes him a debt, not just in technique, but in daring to take risks, to explore the unknown, and to remain utterly true to one's vision. In this, Lynch places Kubrick as both a mentor figure and a cinematic beacon, someone whose work challenges artists to elevate their craft, push boundaries, and confront the complexities of human experience through the medium of film. Ultimately, David Lynch's long-awaited comments reveal not only admiration for Stanley Kubrick's unmatched technical skill and visionary artistry, but also a profound philosophical connection. He identifies with Kubrick's insistence on precision, yet he channels it through a lens of dream logic, the subconscious, and surrealism, showing how influence can be absorbed and transformed rather than merely copied. Lynch's reflections are a rare glimpse into the mind of one master filmmaker reflecting on another, offering movie lovers and aspiring directors alike a window into the interplay between inspiration, craft, and imagination that defines great cinema. David Lynch died of cardiac arrest on January 15, 2025, at his daughter's home in Los Angeles, California.